In case it's not obvious, Destiny has huge anti-black sentiments. It doesn't matter what color skin it is that's saying it, it's still fucking dumb.
So when Destiny brings this person onto his platform, I feel like he's not following the proper protocols for platforming. He's having a great stream in which a person is saying insanely vile anti-black racist rhetoric.
It wasn't black people, it was black men. Black men is the issue. Black men is the fault of all of this.
I'm not giving Destiny, the person, in any of these interactions, any type of positive credit.
I don't see it. Maybe it's because I'm Hawaii. And then I brought Queeman on, and he was in like extremely racist minstrel blackface.
He put that the black style hat on with the glasses in order to make it more of a joke.
Oh my gosh.
What the f was that?
Yeah, change the title.
Was that?
You shouldn't even joke about calling someone the N-word.
I'm not saying that it's surprising, I'm not saying that I'm shocked, I'm saying that it's wrong, it's harmful, and that it needs to stop.
You know, you've really changed my mind on this. I think Destiny is basically a big racist. What's this? You're actually trash for this. Thanks, babe, I try. Oh, wait, because of the meme. Because of the meme. Wait a second, I missed this bit. That's my goal. The destruction of the online black community. Okay. Okay, so I think what the issue is he's used this meme, and I think he doesn't like the fact that Destiny is, like, doing that, basically. Pinned by Fanatiq. In case it's not obvious, Destiny has huge anti-black sentiments. Forcing his community to push back against the bigot he's choosing the platform is the grossest form of black exploitation I've seen in the stream world. There's no excuse for it. What we really need right now is a white guy's opinion on black people talking about things. That's what we need. Before that, I think that like there was like a kind of farming of the Mr. Girl stuff going on, right? And everyone was coming on and talking about that. But we didn't really see any sort of takes that were race related in that. But then when it's black people, all of a sudden it's about race. It's frustrating because I thought Fanatiq did such a good job in the panel, but it's just a bit, I don't know, it feels like he's kind of gone off and done this panel about how black people are getting exploited on Destiny's stream. When I don't think it's about race. I think it's just that Destiny wants to play Factorio, and it just so happened that that's the flavor of the day. And yeah, I've got to be honest with you. I'm getting some weird vibes. You know, the Kanye stuff, I think, has kind of like brought about this tendency to like somewhat defend and what are pretty clearly anti-Semitic statements, like unironic anti-Semitic statements, and it's like you know, and this is where the race fucking politics bullshit comes in, okay, because. It's like, well, these guys, you know, these guys work in the industry, they're black and they're saying it too. Yeah, what does it fucking matter? It's retarded. It doesn't matter what colour skin it is that's saying it. It's still fucking dumb. Like, do you know what I mean? Well, other black people are saying the same thing. Well, yeah. They're stupid too. And it's something to do with them being black. It's just because they're retarded. I mean, listen, I don't know ABBA personally. I like his content. I've always... you know, generally enjoyed his contributions. I'm not like an anti-ABBA person. You know, ABBA was more so going down the line of talking about how people are more outraged by anti-Semitism than anti-black racism. Or there's more, you know, furore about it in the press, which I don't think is true.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started. So number one, I feel like, first off, how can I just ask the three of you guys, how do you guys feel about the way that conversation went with the divester, as far as my conversation with her?
Honestly, I think it went kind of the way that she kind of played the way that she wanted to sound, and it kind of went left when she had any sort of pushback on her.
Okay.
Oh, you wrecked her. The first question out of your mouth just blew her ideology out the water, and then she had to pivot. And then every time you blew her out the water, she had to pivot. And then because she was allowed to act it however she wanted, she didn't have to act with any, she didn't have to comport herself in any type of way other than be hyper emotional and aggressive. So
sure. I could agree with that. No disagreement so far. Philly, how you feel? Maybe his mic isn't working.
Sorry about that. I was very appreciative of what transpired when you actually called in. I was very disappointed up until that point with the people he brought in. I mean, no disrespect
Why have you
to
sent me this?
or the guy from No Jumper or anything, but they kind of yeah, when they came in, it didn't do it for me. And
I don't
when you
understand
actually
why you
came
sent me
in
this.
with some
How do I
actual
turn it off?
intelligent arguments against what she was saying, it made because those are the things that I would have said. So I was just grateful.
How do I turn it off? I don't know how to turn it off, guys.
Okay.
Because if not, then she would have
Guys,
just ran away with that whole.
I don't know what to
stream, and it just
do.
would have been her shitting on black men with no pushback. Because Destiny obviously wasn't equipped to do it.
Okay. I think he's equipped, and I think he chose not to, but we will get into that, honestly. I think, and because of his choice not to, I think is where a lot of the problem
Sorry,
is,
guys.
we can
I don't know. I will have to wait for it to end.
I'm not trying to disagree with you there. What I will say is, I got a lot of comments in the video where people were like really appreciative. That was like the predominant response that I got from this interaction.
It doesn't end. It's an hour long.
Has been
if you close the song down, it just opens up another window.
Back and that I was willing to. But then the other thing that I feel like is also like probably the second most predominant thing was almost a disappointment that the conversation even happened, specifically on Destiny's platform, and what others felt like was him using this to like kind of mask his own views or to like put forward a narrative that didn't make sense. So I guess the first question that we got to get into is, do you believe, this is to anyone,
Biggles, thanks for the sub.
Do you guys believe that Destiny
By
is
the way,
the proper...
I just want to point something out here, okay? I've got no ill will towards Fanatiq at all, okay? We had that drama a little while ago. I praised him on the panel. I fucking praised... I thought he did an amazing job. I thought he kept his cool. I think the other fellas that came on, unfortunately, fell into the trap of, like, rightly getting angry at what she was saying, but it just played into a narrative. So I thought it was great that Fanatiq was able to come on and keep his cool, you know, and stuff. So I find it like, I want to know, genuinely, is there a concern that he's got that's valid? Because, you know, maybe. I just feel like if you want to call what's happened recently the anti-black thing, like, what about what happened last week? Right? Like, Destiny just wants to play his autism simulator and have people argue. And it just so happened that was the topic that would, you know, be relevant. And also, isn't it the other thing as well? Isn't it better, like, to get someone on that had that experience? Is that not something that is maybe like good?
Per protocol for platforming.
No, honestly, I think he's following the proper protocol when it suits him. The issues that I see within different people is when he platforms people, the amount of pushback he gives only suits the issues in which he can actually have a good argument, depending on how exciting it is. It's the same thing that happened with Fuentes, and the same thing happened with her. So if it can make a good enough conversation so people can involve themselves into the chat, he will have little things and leeway he'll give them in order for them to fight, so that way the people in chat can just like, why aren't you saying anything? So that way he can come in as a big knight in shining armor later in order to have these impacts on the conversation he wants to push forward.
Interesting. I honestly, I don't have a problem with the platforming. I never was a big, trying to put rules on people for who they can and can't talk to. Now, responsible platforming, that's something I am like, I haven't fully made up my mind on that yet, because if he were to set that up in the right way, that he could have pulled that off better, I think. And when I say he wasn't equipped to handle that conversation, obviously I don't mean he wasn't intellectually equipped. Like Destiny, even not knowing his subject matter can push back on some of these things. Like, just to keep it brief, what I meant when I said he wasn't equipped was like he didn't know enough about what this girl was talking about. Like, he's not in these black spaces like that she was specifically talking about. Now,
okay, right. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But Destiny said, I don't have this experience. I can give you the talking points. Maybe we should get a black person on that can better speak to this because of that experience. So, Destiny admitted that in the course of doing it? No? Like, tell me if I'm missing something. Okay? I want to know if I'm missing something. I'm pretty sure that's how...
He might have went on Fresh and Fit. He might have interacted with a couple people, Abba and all that, but he's not deep into these communities to have these kind of conversations. I don't think.
Okay. I think the information that she was talking about, I think, was able to be talked about, and but I would say my problem with this specific conversation is that in the past, we've had conversation in which we've discussed responsible platforming. Prime Kai had hosted a debate quite a while ago. I mean, a panel quite a while ago, where that was like the central discussion. And I think we'd all kind of walked away with that. At least we'd all kind of agreed around the idea that platforming is good and responsible and actually beneficial as long as the person platforming the person is adequate to push back against whatever those talking points are. Because if the narrative is never contended with, then that means that the talking points get out and then they're not contended with. And so then people begin to accept that. And it seems like now you're just giving an audience and a platform to a person, right? Whereas if you bring a person on and you are adequately equipped to dismantle the arguments that they're giving, you actually do harm to their intentions and you help dissuade some of their audience. But that's only if there's responsible pushback. Otherwise, you are just amplifying the voice of someone who is harmful. That was the takeaway that it felt like we all had agreed on that from that platform. So when Destiny brings this person onto his platform, I feel like he's not following the proper protocols for platforming because he specifically said multiple times he didn't feel comfortable pushing back from her. One, because sometimes he said he didn't know enough, or two, he felt like because she's talking about her in group, because he's not a black person, then it doesn't feel right for him to really push back on it. So then that means that he's not personally equipped when he should be personally responsible for the direction that those things go. So to be a little bit more, just to close it out, there was the very first Fanatiq panel I had was on vaccine.
People are good take. I guess the issue I've got is how much did Destiny know before bringing her on? It's Destiny's responsibility to push back. Don't you think he did? I don't know. Look, I watched that. Yeah. Maybe he didn't know the full extent of what she was going to say, but I watched that, and not on the first panel. No, you don't think so? I don't know. I mean, I watched it and I thought, yeah, he's given like. The thing that I found, the thing that I didn't like was it felt like, okay, here's what I thought was frustrating about it personally, okay? It felt like Destiny had kind of like spoken to her and she said all this crazy shit, right? And he ended up bringing on different black guys to like try and contend with what she was saying from a personal experience, right? And it felt like, it's like she'd said all this crazy stuff and then say Abba came on and Abba was like rightly angry. Okay, Abba was like rightly angry, and it was like, "Oh no, girl, what are you doing?" You know, and it felt a bit harsh on Abba because like, Abba's rightly pissed off. I think the issue is that it needed kind of Fanatiq's temperament at the time to deal with that. So it is true that like we don't want people coming on and losing their rag because that just plays into what she's saying and plays into a narrative. But it just I don't know. There was something not quite right about telling Abba to get fucked or to fuck off or whatever.
And other people were like saying, oh yeah, you could be spreading misinformation or you could be platforming bad people and so on and so forth. But the presence of Destiny in that situation, whom people really look up to as like the supporter of all of that, and the most go-to person or whatever, that's the way a lot of people view this thing, then allowed me to be able to say, there was adequate pushback for any people who were like particularly given to the vax side. And I feel like the anti-vaxxers would easily be like, well, at least they had a voice because they were on this platform and I made sure that everybody was at least able to speak. So that was responsible. As long as we're going to have adequate pushback. I would say that the people that preceded me weren't adequate pushback, and then Destiny himself was an adequate pushback. And if Destiny himself isn't going to give the pushback, there's no way for him to guarantee adequate pushback.
So
yeah,
for me, it's like
low tier gods really.
We watch Destiny. He's the leader of the
Listen, I gotta be honest with you, right? It would be I'd enjoy talking to low tier god, but I'm really worried because he's got such a fucking sharp tongue. What? I don't want to get roasted by him. I don't want to get flamed alive by the fella. He's so funny. When he was speaking to Darius and he was like, what did he say about Darius? Oh man, that was funny.
Space. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Most people, most things, most ideas that generate in this space come from conversation he has. And we've seen him plenty of times. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't agree with that. Let's move on from that. Let's step away from that. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's not do this here. We can't do that. Don't bring this up. Let's not go there. We got none of that. And then
Well,
it doesn't take it. It's just like, okay, black man comment number 1. Oh, black man number 2. Black man 3. Oh, we're really going in on black men. Man, black man 4, black man 5. And it's like, wait a minute. Now these are starting to compile, and you're still, there's no breaks, there's no pause. There's, okay, I guess I see where you're coming from. And it would, these aren't her, it would be different if she was positing it neutral, positing fairly, actually presenting these ideas in a way where they should be accepted at face value. But her animosity was so clear that it's just like, oh, palpable. It's laughable that anybody can take away from that first section of the conversation that Destiny, oh, well, he's right. He's white. Maybe he shouldn't say anything. No, like that. The way I see it, you either agree with the statement she's making, despite how obviously big it is, or you just can't see that. I don't know. You either agree or you're ignorant. Like, I can't see a way in between where you don't know enough to see how big it is.
But someone pointed this out earlier, though. I don't think the plan was to talk about. I don't think the plan was to talk about black men's issues. Sounded bad. Black men's issues, is it?
That is.
Yeah, and just to be complete, I'm sorry, somebody else was about to speak. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't. Go ahead. I was just saying I agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, so just to be a little bit, charitable to Destiny, he felt like he was out of his depth, right? Because from my understanding, he brought her on not really knowing what to expect, and that's believable because I don't know him, and every time I've come on his stream, there was no like conversation about like what was allowed, what was not allowed, what we were going to talk about. So on one hand, I understand like what happened, but on the other hand, like the aftermath of that.
The thing is, okay. I don't want it to see right. I get it. I understand. I could imagine if you were like a black person, a black guy, and you were watching what was happening, I can totally understand the anger and frustration. And I get why like Abba came on and was angry and so on and so on and so on, right? But like it could have been that she came like I don't know if it was known beforehand that it was going to like go down that route of like insane anti-black man rhetoric. So unless maybe they're saying what Destiny should have like researched more or like cut it off when that started happening. I don't really know what the other solution is. I think that what happened was probably about as good as it could have been based on the thing as it happened.
It gives me a different a view of that, but like in the heat of the moment, I don't think he felt well versed enough in anything that she was saying to even
this is just
begin
absolutely
to push back.
asinine. He obviously feels well versed enough to understand what the implications of systemic oppression are that would lead to the outcomes that she was decrying and literally trying to just paint on the backs of black men. He knows about what systemic oppression is. He knows what that is. And if it was an abject racist white person making those statements, he's done adequate pushback before. When he can make the distinction between police broken windows policing and like the actual fall of violent crime and gun violence and the inadequacies of stop and frisk, I understand that he knows what this lady was pushing, what this lady was saying was unfounded. When I was giving the arguments about the economic implications surrounding education, he understood that thing. Furthermore, she was giving him studies, and when she gave him studies to read, there was a point where he read through the study and then realized it was absolutely a waste of time, and then the chat was asking him about it, and he responded to them, it's effing useless. So he understood what she was saying was BS and that it was unsupported, and that the data that she was giving actually didn't have anything to do with it. Did he voice that in that moment? Of course not. Did he voice it ever? Of course not. Instead, he left himself neutral in a situation where she was asking him to be the arbiter. You can read Destiny, you read these studies, you tell me if they're accurate, and he chose not to do so. Furthermore, the grenades that he threw in were all entirely supportive of her positions, so he's very much aware of these things. We've seen him make the argument for systemic oppression.
I think Fanatiq did great.
He just didn't want to make it against this person, and it seems like he was supporting her beliefs by steelmanning her arguments for her.
The two grenades.
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, he did. So
She's already against black men. The black men that came on and did exactly what you felt in the first place. It was clearly self-fulfilling prophecy, but nobody tried to stand above this dynamic. Yeah, of course, because she could just point and go, see what I said? I was right. But then it's a bit harsh to judge. Like, of course they're going to be angry. It was okay. Who's seen the meme? There's this meme about it's like civility politics, right? The concept being that if you express something, even something very extreme, in a calm way, because optically you look better, if someone then reacts to you and gets angry at you, they look worse, even though they're in the right. One of the best examples of this, one of the absolute top examples of this, in terms of like something that happened in reality, first of all, there's a meme, and it's Hitler talking about Hitler stuff, and then someone's getting angry in response, and it basically is presented as if, well, Hitler looks more reasonable, even though he is saying the worst possible shit. But if you want to see an example, a case study in civility politics, it is Ben Affleck versus Sam Harris on the Bill Maher show in 2016. That is a fucking brilliant case study, because if you actually listen to what's being said, if you actually get into the arguments, Sam Harris's arguments aren't actually that strong, aren't actually that substantive. And if you dig into like the stats he gives, it's actually not as good as it sounds. You know, we looked at it a little while ago, and actually Sam Harris wasn't presenting that strong a case. You know, bear in mind, he'd said that 20% of all Muslims were like, I can't remember the exact wording, but basically it was a massive number that he gave, right? But the problem is, Ben Affleck actually had a fairly reasonable position at the court if he'd have argued it better, but he didn't. He lost his mind and he went crazy and fucking was saying all sorts of shit and was a bit incoherent. So Sam Harris actually didn't have the best position if you go and listen to the meat of what was said, but because optically he presented himself in a way that was much calmer, he was able to like much better hold the conversation and come out, and that's where people were like, oh, he won the debate. No, he did from optics perspective, but not really from an argument perspective if you get into it, you know. So, you know, it's but then you can understand why someone's going to be annoyed, but it's like you've got to not be annoyed because it makes you look bad.
And one more thing, he brought her back on his platform a second day where he was completely aware of what she was going to be talking about. So then at this point, all of that excuse is out of the window, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I watched that one too.
Yes, but like, all right, so just trying to put myself in his shoes. Everything you said is correct. Like it's his platform. He knows like how to counter these arguments. He knows he does know that what she was saying, like, because the problem was he kept like tiptoeing around her, like, well, what you're saying is kind of racist. It's coming off a little racist. Like he didn't want to go hard on her and what his excuse that he gave was he didn't want her to run away because he knew that the slightest little bit of pushback, she was going to just leave, and that's not what he wanted, because obviously he was having a great stream and it was, you know, great. Like everybody was entertained, and all that
right
stuff,
there.
except for.
Can we pause?
Well, sure.
He's having a great stream in which a person is saying insanely vile anti-black racist rhetoric, and he's not pushing back, but he's still having a great stream. Is that problematic or not?
That's exactly what I was talking about.
I got you. Let him answer the question, please.
Yes, that is problematic, and you know the aftermath of that we saw. But like what I'm saying is, so she was coming and saying things like, you know, well, what about black men, you know, leaving a relationship or the divorce rate and all that. Now, while you were giving pushback, what I'm saying when I say he's not well versed enough in this, like he doesn't know why black men and women are breaking up. Like he's not in these conversations. He doesn't know the first thing about black relationships.
But you don't need to know that you don't. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, that's why I was so grateful that you came on, because like what can he say to that? Like, is he going to tell her like she's wrong if he doesn't know that like the reason?
Okay,
like I'm just bringing up one specific example.
So let's excuse the first day then. So let's excuse the first day because he brought her on a second day. So then he clearly did problematically brought a platform her a second time, right?
Yes, absolutely. The second time was yes. No, I agree with you 100%. I was specifically speaking about.
I don't know much about this. To be fair, I don't know much about the second day. I didn't end up watching all of that. Did we watch the start? I can't remember.
The first day when he didn't know like what she was going to say, what to expect.
I'm going to say.
Why are you calling me a wife beater and a thief?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think we can all. I'm positive that Destiny has enough emotional IQ to recognize that black men, that marriages breaking up between black men or relationships ending and terminating between black men and black women there's no possible way that all of the onus could be on black black men. Do you think he needs to be particularly well-versed in relationships to know that? Or do you think that's something that he should be able to glean from just typical human interaction, that relationships end and terminate for various reasons, and to put all that onus on black men is absolutely asinine?
Well, yeah, because I was in a conversation with you when he had the same conversation within the black community. To act like he don't know is insane, because he went on an entire tirade about how black people can say and do things that normally other races can't do, and how they should actually contend with the problems that they have in the community, and therefore the changes that they want to see, they have to be the changes they want other people to see. So the issue I was seeming to, I guess, have with him is that the platform isn't the problem, because when she came on the second time, she was vindicated even more.
Yes,
because everything that he was saying,
please, I'm begging,
to bolster her arguments was given all of the endorphins that she loved, especially when he was talking about all of the stuff that she was putting off was almost fallacious. Remember when she was saying that it doesn't really matter because the rate of high school graduates were so low, and then you said, no, it's pretty high. And then you gave her the statistics on that, and you was like, well, so you're gonna move the goalpost again? The further you push her on the situation, the further away she runs away from it. And then when she ran away to the corner, she just started talking over you and yelling at you to the point where it wasn't even a conversation anymore. It was just vitriol aimed at black men. And it wasn't even to a point where it made sense. It was just saying, okay, well, it's all your fault. It's like, wait, it takes two to tango here.
Absolutely.
And then the grenades.
On the second day, you're saying when she brought that up, how did that pertain to the second day?
Well, it was because when they were talking, it wasn't really a conversation about analyzing her thoughts on the situation to do with black people, because it wasn't black people, it was black men. Black men is the issue. Black men is the fault of all of this. She made it seem as though that since we want to be in charge, therefore we have to take all the responsibility when things go bad. And that wasn't the actual argument. The argument was when things are bad, it is your fault because you are
Two Legs, thanks for the $20. That's super generous of you. Appreciate you.
supposed to be the leader, not figuring out why it broke down in the first place. It didn't matter why it broke down. It doesn't matter if you're banging Pookie or whatever and you get a crappy outcome from that. It's still the black man's fault.
Okay, and
so
what
when
does
the
that have to do
issue
with
comes
Destiny?
has everything to do with Destiny, because the pushback he would give on everything else involving the situation with a fallacious argument wasn't even presented. It was just like, okay, she's
Yes,
going to run with this
T-Legs
argument,
based.
and there was no pushback because
Appreciate
his
you.
understanding about statistics
Increase
is thrown
the
out the
goal.
window, especially when he's talking
We're
about
gonna do a Keffels.
just dynamics between relationships. It doesn't actually have to just be black
First time
people.
I've been able to
So
do
you're
this
going to
month.
put everything on one gender and not actually have any thoughts about why that doesn't make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, that seems like you're in agreement with what I'm saying. That he obviously should have enough intelligence to recognize that you can't put all that onus on any one person.
Yeah, I'll disagree. I believe the second day is exactly how the first day should have gone, because she didn't get free reign to just spew her bigotry. You know, there were so many more people in there after the fact, and because we knew that if, you know, because now since it's on, he put the onus on the black people in his community to ensure that she didn't have the onus to just be bigoted. So
Yeah, holy shit, I was begging to get in there the second day. I was DMing him, I was DMing Fanatiq. Yeah, everybody was biting at the chomp to get in there that second day.
So let me ask you this then: Do you think that it's responsible, unless the only way that would be responsible? That's not a question. The only way that the second day becomes like optimal is if he has enough confidence to ensure that the people that he's getting up to challenge.
Someone linked the Oblivion music.
And it doesn't seem like he was doing that, did he?
He
Someone
wasn't,
linked
because he
the
wasn't
Oblivion
confident in
music again.
anybody, I don't think, except Abba. Like, and Abba just wanted to meme the whole time and fucking play moderator and shit and like make
The
jokes and
entire time.
make her fucking point up. Yeah, it was like, why you have two. All right, so she's talking about black men, like, but she's a Canadian, and you bring in another Canadian dude to like talk about black issues when we all live in the United States and our problems here are unique to anywhere else in the world. It didn't make much sense to me.
Why is it so funny?
The way that he decided to kind of just run that. Like the second day was better on the pushback. I will agree with you, but like I said, I don't think he had enough confidence in anybody to properly push back against her.
Okay, wasn't it the second day that he specifically said that he?
Let's get on the panel. Let's get on the panel, boys. Come on.
Wasn't that in the second day?
Yes.
Oh,
that was the
yeah.
second day.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how could the second day be better platforming if on that day he's telling her that all of the pushback that she got from the previous day was all bad faith or all coping, and therefore her arguments were valid?
Because
Well,
Abba
his own
wasn't.
pushback the second day.
Was that not a portion of his perspective on the second day?
Yeah, it was.
So you're saying that was an
He has
outlier position?
now I gotta go rewatch that.
He has a beef with you personally. I don't know what it is. I tried to ask you about this the first time we ever talked, but it's
Okay.
something with you.
Sure.
personally.
So if he has a beef with me personally, and during using that beef, he then basically validates an anti-black, vile, racist person on his channel, and
Destiny's
and
hella
tries to
racist.
disarm all of the defenses that I put up in that scenario. How is that good?
Destiny despises
Oh,
black
so I think
people
this was
and
him
agreed
being
with
him.
that woman.
Yeah, real
Yeah,
quick,
So wait,
true.
even if it's him being, hold
On
on,
that point.
even if it's him being him, how is that good? Is the question.
Look, he's gonna do that. Like
How is that good? I get that he's going to do that. How is that good?
It's not.
Nobody's saying it's good.
No, you did say it's good because you guys are all saying the statement.
no, no.
You
I'm
guys
saying-
all made the statement that the second day was better. All of you did.
I
was better.
actually went against it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe
I
Miles, you
said-
didn't. Okay, sorry, then I'm wrong. Zovia and STV, you guys both said that the second day was better. Did you not?
Okay, in terms of pushback from him, yes.
But if the pushback from him is invalidated, okay, maybe I'm okay. So sound.
Right, okay. This Oblivion music's got to stop, okay? The thing is that I find frustrating about this is like, I do think there's like the IRI thing, for example, right? I think that Destiny was out of pocket with the IRI stuff, okay? Honestly, when he was sat there going, oh, wow, I feel so bad for IRI, damn. Like, yeah, you did this. We're all trying to find the guy that did this. Like, I don't, and I think that, like, I think that Destiny was too quick to be dismissive of, like, say, ABBA because he was angry. I think that's wrong. You know, I think that there's definitely criticisms you can make of, like, Destiny's actions in some of it, right? I don't have a problem with that. I just think that framing it this way and being so total with the statements, you know, I don't think Destiny's like some anti-black person puppeting minstrels. Like, I think that's crazy. What happened with RI? Well, what happened with RI? So, Destiny had wanted IRI to come on to speak about politics, okay? Now, about the midterms. Now, for some reason, rather than do a private call, Destiny told IRI to go into the public channel where people with the right perms can join, okay? And then, after a couple of minutes of them talking about the midterms, Gideon joined. No, IRI said that that's what Destiny wanted to happen. Okay, so I think Destiny had told him to do that. Well, that's what IRI said. But then the other thing, there's one thing. I don't think IRI's worded as his bond. But then, when Destiny joined, he said something like, "Oh, you're in here." Okay, we'll put that on the back burner. But in any case, put that on the back burner. Okay. Yes, new guy. I spoke about that earlier. Okay. And here's the thing, okay? Okay, but this is copium of why they talked about voting. Do you think that the conversation that happened was how IRI envisioned the conversation to happen? Like, no, obviously fucking not, okay? Obviously not. IRI said himself he wasn't going on to debate people on it. He just wanted to talk to Destiny and talk broadly about the midterms, okay? So, anyway, it then went from Gideon coming on to everyone, you know, as everyone coming on and having a conversation and talking about it. And, you know, clearly IRI was sidelined. And then something happened and, like, IRI was kind of on the hook for something and getting some shit. And Destiny said something like, "Oh, man, this really sucks for IRI." Or, like, he was like, expressed a frustration that IRI was in that position where it's like, but it's partly because of Destiny, at least, that got to that point. Does that make sense? Yeah, exactly. It's like, this ain't what he signed up for. It's like, you signed him up for it, mate. What do you mean? It was funny. I thought it was a funny moment. But, like, I think that's something that, you know, if you wanted to, you could give, like, a serious criticism of. Right, fine. Like, and I'm saying as well that, like, there's certain, that, you know, and clearly, like, Destiny probably feels like, you know, it's like, you know, that meme. We're all looking for the guy that did this. It's that fucking meme, isn't it? And I just think it's a bit much to, like, go from like what is probably a reasonable criticism somewhere to Destiny as, like, anti-black or something, or, you know, or like they're calling it blaxploitation. Like, there's a comment that Fanatiq pinned where Destiny's being accused of blaxploitation. But the reality is, Destiny wants to play his autism game whilst people argue in the background for content. Like, can we call it what it is, okay? Destiny is exploiting you for content, not on the basis of your race, but on the basis of your willingness to come on and argue while he plays the autism simulator, okay? So we don't need to inject race into this. This is a class, like I said about the other thing, this is a class analysis, okay? We can do a class analysis on this. Yeah, someone called, that was funny, to be fair, but I don't think it was meant as a joke. But yeah, someone said Destiny was a plantation owner. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that it's the classic Yeah, it's Will's clout analysis of like he's a feudal lord or whatever it was, or Destiny's the king of the kingdom and everyone else is a lord or a serf.
Sounds to me like you're saying his pushback was good, but also within that pushback from him, he dismantled all of the arguments that I gave the previous day, which you said were good. So then that means now that that's validating to her, is it not?
I'm not giving Destiny the person in any of these interactions any type of positive credit.
So then that means his platforming is still bad then if he's going to be depending on other people.
I was saying that the opportunity for like I missed the timeline for the first day. I don't know if you were there before Forethought and the No Jumper dude got on. Were you?
No.
Me? Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So
I was there the whole time.
Okay, so for him to, it's like, oh, here's black person number one. Here's another black person. And then as soon as you show up in the chat, because I actually got to see, that's the part where I joined in, like the chat just flooded. Oh, put Fanatiq in.
Wait, did we first getting little brother the pretty fly for one guy? But that was after all the other stuff had happened. You know, RI got Lil Broed first.
And then he couldn't just ignore that he actually got you in there. What I'm saying is, as far as day two, it's like, you know, more people were ready.
Sorry, guys, I should want to promote this as well. So, the Chud Logic subreddit is open for business, okay? The Chud Logic subreddit is open for business, guys. So if you want to get in the mix, go and follow the subreddit now.
He knows that Tree of Logic. He knows that he knows that Abba.
I wasn't even scheduled to be there on the second day. I literally forced my way in just because I had privileges on his Discord.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, by the way.
So then how did he know that I was going to push back? He didn't know I was going to push back.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
All right.
What does that mean?
I think I know where this disconnect's coming.
Make it.
No. All right. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, someone linked this
You
to
want
me
to say that? I'm
before.
sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. No, go ahead. It's like, there's nothing else to say there. Like, that's the answer.
Person who was trying to push back the most, his beef wasn't exactly with her. She had a beef with him, so he just wanted to focus on getting why she hated him so much. So his main thing was trying to get her to say, why you got so much vitriol, why you got so much smoke for me. So that was the main focus that was happening with Abba. I think the only crux of that whole conversation was trying for her side to validate what she was saying and at the same time go after Abba. But Abba didn't want all of that. He was just trying to say, what is your problem with me? And then he went off, and then she went off to say, well, you call that chick fat, and then he spent some time on that. And then he went on the fact to talk about, well, my side is that black men need to take responsibility.
Sorry, I know we just looked at this, right?
Entirely for the situations of why the black family is down bad. And he was kind of agreeing with her. So that didn't really have any movement at all. It was just like, okay, she got validated. And that's what I was saying from the beginning. It got validated in the beginning until Fanatiq came on for the first one, and it got validated again on the second one. So that's what I was saying. It just seemed as though that the issue seemed to be like all of his tenacity went to hell because he wanted that fight for me, guys, so I get content bullshit. And that's what I've been seeing lately.
So
that's
I guess
why those two grenades were so bad.
Thank you. So then that brings us up to the next point that we had. Would this qualify as blaxploitation?
Yes.
For everybody who doesn't understand, for everyone who doesn't understand what the phrase blaxploitation is, where it comes from, I believe it was in the 60s or maybe, yeah.
If I message him, I'm going to use slurs. I'm done. I'm fucking sick of it.
70s.
Probably 60s and 70s. Maybe 70s, fine. There was a point, so we'll say in the 70s. I really thought it was, but whatever. In the 70s, there was this era where a bunch of white filmmakers started making these movies, supposedly from the black perspective, where the characters were primarily black, and they were supposed to be done with like black issues, whatever. But the writers, the producers, and all the proceeds pretty much went to white people. But they were selling black films to black people, but white people were writing it and controlling it. And they called that the blaxploitation era. And some of these films had some really problematic themes in it. Shaft one seemed like it was pretty decent overall, although there was a bunch of demeaning to Shaft, but he was obviously outsmarting the white guys. But then, of course, the Foxy Brown movie, she literally got to a scene where she was just getting ran through. She got raped by this white hick dude. It was crazy as freak. So it just those movies were really, really toxic because what it was white people using black stories or black fiction and selling it to black audiences, but using it for their own profit. And so in the same sense, it would seem what I would call the reason why I would say that there's an analogy. It would be if Destiny is using this black audience, using these black this black fighting and these black issues for his audience, for his own personal gain. That's what I'm getting at. Does anyone feel like it isn't that, or what do you guys think?
No, I think it 100% is because he did it before. It's like whenever, like I said, back when you and Joe Lewis, and remember that black panel that he was in on, and he was talking about the N-word and all that shit, he would like purposely meme in order to derail the conversation that you were seriously talking about. He did the same thing here when you were having a conversation with her. He was throwing an unnecessary grenade to bolster her conversation when it literally didn't do that. It just made the conversation harder for you to contend with when he knew it was bullshit. So he could sit back and laugh and play that bullshit game that he was playing because it was a whole lot.
Okay. Destiny bought him and DGG was super happy about his performance. And he turns around and does stuff like this and he's back in their bad graces. I don't think that people should like stop themselves from genuinely expressing how they feel just to like stay in the good graces or whatever. Mr. Girl's talking. Okay. I might just play Apex then. I'm sure people are going to fuck off and watch that. Oh man,
easy for him to farm content. So yeah, absolutely he was doing it, and you can tell by the way he would smile and laugh whenever you guys got into a heated argument when she just would not be quiet every time she tried to shut you off because she felt like she was getting just destroyed with logic. So the basis of him doing that twice was to get the argument more heated up so more people can be in the chat, rah that shit up to a point where it's like you got two black people screaming and hollering at each other so that way they can be seen as this entertainment.
Sure. Philly?
I would. I think it's more analogous to like a minstrel show.
Sure.
Because
But the question is it
yeah,
blaxploitation?
no, I think just strictly because of the audience. That's why I would compare it more to like a minstrel show he was trying to put on. It seemed like because he has a white audience, and that's like who was you know, for the most part bringing in that's who was absorbing the content, who was consuming the content.
Is he exploiting blackness for his own personal gain? Is it black exploitation?
I don't think he was. No, I don't think he was exploiting. I mean, these are real things. Like this isn't some made up. This wasn't like a made up conversation. You know what I mean? Like, do I think he's really invested in these things? No, no. But I think he has a large enough platform to where like these conversations can be had without it being exploitation.
He's off for the next 3 days. Okay, listen. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Yeah, I am going to do that tomorrow, and I'm going to do it because people are going to expect that me knowing Destiny off is going to make me stream my normal content to capitalize on the viewers. But I'm not going to. I'm going to play Apex without a cam for fucking 12 hours tomorrow, okay? That's fucking much. I don't give a shit this month. We're fucking doing it, boys. Let's go. Anyway.
Was it exploitative, the way that he was allowing her to spew the vitriol, knowing that it would... That's crazy. I'm not going to argue with you. Sylvia?
I mean, you can ask the same question a different way, but my answer is
okay.
no.
It's okay.
I don't think
your answer. I'm just moving on. Sylvia?
It was blatantly black exploitation because on the biggest space in this realm, instead of, hey, here are my positions on black issues. Here's how I feel about it. How do you feel about it? No, it's here.
Well, we know his position on black issues.
I'm a platform this bigot. Let her inflame my black audience.
I'm going to do a cam list. I might use a cam.
Surprisingly,
I like using the
his
cam.
white audience wasn't going for her either. And now it's, well, I'm white. I can't take a position on it, but I'm the biggest platform on here. I got plenty of black people that want to get in here. Get in here, black people. You know, stand up for yourselves. You know, pull your pants up in my community.
Is that what you would want, though?
But that's not how.
I don't know about. Oh man, I oh God. I don't see it. Maybe it's because I'm white, but I just don't see it. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, guys. Are there any black people that want to come on? Are there any black people that want to come on my stream right now and respond to this VOD, you know, on my behalf? I think that's the only way we can do this.
That's not the question. Number one, that's not the question we're asking about whether or not he's handling the situation right once he's already started the exploitation. The question was whether or not the exploitation is actually there. But I don't really want to argue like really heavily. So
hey, why not? Why? I think it's a very like substantial point we can kind of.
Man, it can't be substantial if the issue wasn't based on what you say it is. Because the fallacious arguments on every other situation, he is very, very much a stickler about misinformation. Why didn't that come up at all?
No, what if? Okay, what if I said I was going to do that, and then I brought Queeman on, and he was in like extremely racist minstrel blackface, and I just was completely straight faced, and I acted like he was actually black, even though quite clearly he wasn't. And he just commented on it, and he called them like N words. It was like, Destiny's right about this. God, fuck these guys, you know. Da 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 da. That would be a piece of content.
Whenever he was having that misinformation come up constantly. That's all he says on his stream. Misinformation is so much worse than anything he's ever put on his content. Whenever there's a conversation he's having, like if it's JS, it can be Fuentes, it doesn't matter who it is. Misinformation is the one thing he nips in the bud. Throughout all of that misinformation, he didn't pipe up enough like he always does when there's misinformation happening. So
just load up.
I think this is a myth that is perpetrated about Destiny, that he's this, you know, like super rational, you know, always looking for the truth, would never let misinformation come across his platform.
Is that not how he tries to present himself?
Sure, that's how he tries to present himself.
Do you feel like
eyes and ears.
Do you feel like he was true to form how he tries to present himself in this scenario?
No, but I've seen
interesting one. I'll let him respond, and I'll talk.
This behavior is not new.
Go on.
This is not something.
Is it consistent with what he normally does?
Listen.
Good question.
Okay, then. Wait, answer the question.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did I answer the question?
Relax.
Okay, then. Was that an answer?
Well, I'm sorry. Can you give an answer?
Okay.
Yes.
Was it consistent?
Yeah, he's answering.
So he just came off a whole thing with Nick Fuentes where there was all this contention about whether he was pushing back hard enough or whether, you know, he was, you know, allowing a Nazi to come on his platform and just spew all this. And we saw how he handled that. And he's handling this the exact same way. So is this consistent for Destiny? Yes. This is what he does.
Well, look,
he is about content. He's not seriously invested in anything he talks about unless we're talking about fucking music or Factorio. He doesn't give a fuck about any of these issues. White, black. If we're talking about the word Gusano, maybe he gives a fuck. But like,
true, he only cares about his Factorio based. I'm about time someone said it.
Cracker?
I don't. Cracker, yeah, like he cares about those things. Yeah. I'm sorry. Oh, my fault.
You can't blow it up, bro.
No, I sincerely apologize.
You can't blow it up like that, bro. Holy shit.
Why?
But we weren't.
It's my fault for expecting people to feel that way. Okay, so then the next question was there was a.
I'm not on. I'm like.
It's fine. I got you. It's okay. We're gonna move past it. There was the final talking point was about the contradiction between the statements gatekeeping white people is bad, right? Because he's always saying whenever we start talking about black issues or black things, and like we've like talked about, like systemic oppression and things like that, some people will say that he's not in a place to actually discuss these issues because he's not black, and he's always felt like and always voiced that was problematic. That get kind of gatekeeping, as he said, it's cringe. So then, if that type of gatekeeping is cringe, do you think there's a contradiction? Because he says that everyone should be able to talk about these issues as long as you're informed and so on and so forth. Then do you think there's a contradiction between when he's always said gatekeeping is cringe and a statement, I can't push back because I'm white and I don't know these issues personally?
100% yes. He had a conversation.
How is that a contradiction? That's the oh my god. Destiny said, I can do the talking points, which he did, okay. But I can't speak to the lived experience. So, because he can't. Like, this is fucking mental. Yeah, he never said he can't speak on it. There's no contradiction. I don't know, man. Listen, look. I don't think. I'm trying to come to. I thought, are there genuine concerns? Are there genuine? Sure, maybe there is some things that I think you could point out, but they just want to paint this grand narrative, and now they're trying to find like these contradictions and stuff. It just doesn't make any sense.
With Lav talking about how gatekeeping is fine whenever you want to make sure that the content that you're trying to preserve is something that you want to maintain. Like you were saying that people who call themselves non-binary and they may be crazy and whatever, but we can't let those people change the way that you think and hijack so that way you can preserve that thing. But now when it's convenient, he can just take away responsibility from themselves in order to, I guess, stop gatekeeping the thing that he actually thinks he should maintain in order to subterfuge his own thought process when it comes down to misinformation. I think it's insane. I think that's his way of getting away with the stuff that he can actually, hold himself to task for and let the shit hit the fan whenever something comes out that he doesn't want to have to deal with.
Okay, STV.
I don't disagree. So I think the big, I guess, incongruence I'm having in my head, the thing I can't iron out here is like I said, there's this expectation placed on Destiny that he is like this super consistent person. Nothing that he said really surprised me. Like, I remember I first noticed this with Trihex, with that whole situation in the N-word debate. And then there was like another, he had this BLM activist on who was kind of trying to educate him on some of the BLM issues, and all he wanted to use was anecdotes. And this one time I was buying they were talking about like the housing discrimination, and like the lady that was trying to sell her house, the black lady was trying to sell her house, and she felt like she wasn't getting a fair price, and she switched out all the pictures with a white family and had them come in and sell the house and got like $500,000 more on the house or something. And his first reaction to that was, that can't be true, because the one time I went to buy a house, I talked to 4 or 5 different real estate agents, and I just couldn't imagine this being the case. He didn't read one thing. He didn't look up one.
Wait, with this person, I don't know. I mean, Fanatiq has put this all on. I mean, obviously, Fanatiq is able to talk to Destiny about this, right? I mean, I don't think Fanatiq would be shy about that. Fanatiq's very happy to speak to Destiny. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, guys, listen, this is your pre-warning. Okay, I'm pre-warning you. For those of you that aren't true Chud Nation acolytes, I'm going to be switching to Apex gameplay after I finish watching this, and I'll be half paying attention to chat whilst trying to get some dubs. So take this as your pre-warning.
He might have looked up the article, read like one sentence, and then spew off on this whole diatribe about how.
Wait, what's this? Concerns during the first convo, but on the second and third, I think Demon handled it well. Whether it was a result of community backlash or if he actually felt he had a handle on the topic, I personally don't care. He corrected on the issue. They need to move the fuck on. Sure, I think that there are probably criticisms. Yeah, definitely. I think he was like quite quick to shut down the fellas that were coming on that were angry when this woman had just said a bunch of fucking insane shit. He should have allowed the misogynoir to flow. I think that's my, But then, and he's trying to he's trying to crack down on the misogyny, right? Like he I don't know, man. Oh man, it's tough call.
How this can't be possibly true. And then the whole thing with the redlining thing with Fanatiq. Fanatiq was left, yeah. 100% right with the historical prevalence and importance and impact that redlining had, and Destiny just was not willing to have that conversation. So I think this is completely consistent with his treatment of black people, the treatment of our issues. He doesn't take it seriously, and he never has. So am I surprised? Is he being consistent? I don't know, but I'm not surprised.
So to answer the question, is there a
I'm sorry, one more time?
Wait, no.
Yes.
Okay. Sylvia? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is absolutely inconsistent with anything he engages with. And this is the exact reason why the term "stay out of black folks' business" exists, because you get these people that do this nonsense, and it turns into this whole mess of these issues where now you got a bigot being validated. You got reason. One of his own moderators came out looking really stupid in that situation. You put your own community through that because you choose not to engage. It's like, oh, I'm white. It's like the nigga moment is happening, and it's like, oh, this is what happens when the nigga moment happens to white people. And he's like, the white man's puffing up, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm white. He just laughs and walks away. That's exactly what Destiny did, and you can't say that he's consistent with it when if you take trans issues. He doesn't play around with trans issues. He doesn't let people get dead named. He doesn't let any type of aggressions or microaggressions happen, even though trans women got him banned off of Twitch. They dramatically reduced his income for a while. They got him banned on Twitter. And he...
Okay. I feel like... there's this thing that I keep seeing happen where there's this crabs in a bucket mentality where there's like I don't know, it's like there's this discussion and disagreement over like who's got it worse in some way, or like, oh well, look, he treats trans people better, doesn't he? Like, it just seems like such a waste of time and not worth, like, you know, the people that are like broadly at the bottom rungs of like structures of society. Like, I just don't think it's worth it. I don't know. Is there any value in having this debate?
He doesn't have any type of vitriol towards that community. But when black men are attacked, oh, I can see where you're coming from. Well, that's hard to argue against. I don't know how to do that. Also,
I don't even think this is true. I'm pretty sure that when Mr. Girl came on the first time and said all the stuff he said about trans people, I'm pretty sure Destiny received similar criticism from his community that he wasn't adequately pushing back against Mr. Girl's takes on gender. Correct me if I'm wrong. God, it's so annoying. It's so annoying that I feel I have to say that. But the problem is like, you're expected to have an encyclopedic knowledge on every single piece of drama that's ever occurred. And I think I do a pretty good job of it normally. But I feel like I have to say, before chat starts popping off with something, guys, I could be wrong. It happened. This is something that happened 11 months ago. You know, it might not be an exact memory. But yeah, his Reddit was pissed, right? His Reddit was pretty annoyed, I thought. Well, some people were. But the point is like, he has had this issue before, even when talking about trans people. I don't think it's, you know, a unique thing that black people.
And half the time it's like, I don't know, maybe you have a different viewing of him, but a lot of him agreeing with her just came off of him, to me, as agreeing with him because he knows better.
I think he really agrees with her.
Destiny hates trans people and black people equally.
I think he really agrees with some of the things that she's saying. I don't think this is like...
I don't think he does. Look, I don't like a lot of the shit he says, but I don't think he agrees with it. Sure. Guy's far too smart to believe the shit that she is saying, all right? Because he's argued against it specifically. The stuff that she was saying, he was saying that most of the stuff that would happen in the home is based on a lot of the divorce rate is due to finance issues. How the hell can you have a large percentages of marriages fail and have it just be one gender's issue? That makes no damn sense. For the fact that just went on without any pushback is insane. And the little pushback he had was so just paltry. It seemed as though that he was like, he wanted this to happen, or he was not even focused because the game was too good, or he just wanted to play it up for the people who were watching him because the content was so fantastic. How often do you get a psychotic, self-hating black woman to come on and blame every single problem that the black community is dealing with on one freaking gender? How often do you have that? It was gold for him, so he milked it.
Absolutely.
I'm not here to... Go ahead.
I don't disagree with you at all when that's the situation. And I think, to be honest with you, I feel like even when I was having the conversation with that person and I was successfully pushing back against everything that she was saying, and I was still remaining calm despite all of that. And I feel like even Abba, when he joined that situation, Abba joined for the content farm in the same way. Mm-hmm. And I feel like he wasn't really contributing to the conversation, which is why I decided to exit. Because like, we're still going back and forth, and he's like kind of jumping in, laughing, coughing, you know, doing all those kinds of things, really trying to be more inflammatory and instigating more so than actually contributing to the conversation. I'm a big fan of Abba. I like a lot of his content, but I think in that situation, I think it was obvious that he was really just there to meme and have a good time. I didn't listen to his conversation with her, but I'll have to, because later on, I guess he said, yeah, you called me one of the good ones. So it seemed like, and from what I'm hearing from the messages and the DMs that I'm getting, it seemed like Abba was somewhat agreeing with her and somewhat validating some of her positions. I'm not sure if that actually happened. Those are the DMs that I've gotten. I'll have to watch the conversation for myself to be able to see that. But what I can say is, Destiny clearly is contradicting himself on countless times. If people start saying you can't talk about things, I mean, I don't have to look very far. I'm pretty sure any person who is familiar with Destiny's content can validate that Destiny's made it very consistently clear that to gatekeep discussions to only the people that are directly affected or impacted is...
Yeah, but the thing is, even if it was... he's gatekeeping himself. Like, the issue is when you gatekeep others and when you say, you cannot speak about this. But he was saying, I, you know, maybe can't speak about this in the best way because I don't have a personal experience, you know? I just don't see how that's an inconsistency.
Cringe. So then to be in this situation and constantly cite that you can't talk about it because it's about an in-group and you're not relevant, then that right there is an obvious contradiction. I really didn't, you know... it's crazy to me that he's like trying to pretend that he couldn't push back there. I do think that some of those things are his positions, and not just because of the fact of the grenades he was throwing, but in my response to the grenades and in previous conversations that I've had with him, in which I've said when I've given things that should have dismantled those grenades, he like his face while those things were happening, like it was almost like, wait, what? Like no, what? How? Like it was more like he was disagreeing with me as I was giving my pushback for a lot of those situations. Furthermore, if this person is already incredibly inflammatory and I'm successfully dismantling them, why would you want to throw grenades? The only reason why you would be wanting to throw grenades is to be exploitative, to gain more from your content.
Yeah, so, and remember what he did? He actually put the stupid he put that the black style hat on with the fucking glasses in order to make it more of a fucking joke.
Oh my gosh.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, changed
what
the title.
Was that?
Yeah,
I'm like, what? You knew what you were doing.
Absolutely.
Oh, come on. Please. Come on. Like, it was funny. I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe I shouldn't be voicing my opinion on this as white. But like, I don't think it's that deep. It was just a stupid meme from his subreddit. Anyway, I don't want to speak over the black experience. Okay.
Him renaming his stream Destiny's stream for jobs and freedom, which was like
Marching
for
I'm black. It was funny.
like him wearing the
that's
Kofi
pretty
hat,
geek,
right?
Chad.
He was specifically wearing that. Like I'm sorry, that was like the meme that they put on him, and then he made that like the thumbnail for his stream. I think again, obviously, like him like saying that basically the arguments I was giving against some of the things she was saying were cope, and validating her was obviously problematic. I think he obviously knew how toxic she was, and he was bringing people on specifically for that reason. And I think obviously he knows it's been a content thing. And then furthermore, there's a DM that I got where Destiny very clearly used a hard R and specifically said that he was going to be using something specifically to exploit content. I'm gonna find that really quick. Let me see. Copy link. I'm gonna share that.
What the fuck?
Like this?
You know what he's gonna do, right? He's gonna say this is the Destiny support group because he doesn't like criticism.
Yeah,
he says he likes criticism.
Go ahead and read that. I put it in my stream chat, and you tell me if you can say that that's the Destiny support group. It starts off and he says, "Next time I bring on black people, guys, we'll just have another convo about that Kendrick concert where that white woman came on stage and rapped the N-word, and then we can talk for 2 hours about whether or not there's a difference between." And then he says, types out hard R, and then he says, "and nigga," Pepe laugh. Then he says, "That's great content. Holy crap! I can't wait for our next stream of black people. Do you think when white people rap the N-word, is it racist, Mr. Abba?" And then he says, "I didn't type the N-word. I copy pasted it from an old conversation with Abba, where I called him the N-word." But still,
fuck?
So in this situation, it seems like that's
Jesus. He's got to chill with the hard R's. Even typing it out is a bit of a listen. Even contextually, that's a heavy hitter. That's a heavy hitter, guys. Where was this anyway? Where did he type this out? Even I would take pause. Was this in DGG? Yeah. Link it to me. Link it to me so I can. I'm going to put it on stream and shake my head the whole time so people know I disagree. Come on, link it to me.
And he knows what he's doing, and he's like, that right there is like an indication. You can say, "Oh, I'm just being sarcastic and tongue-in-cheek." You can say that all you want to. It's obvious that he knew that the content from this woman would be explosive. He already saw a conversation with her, with the Saint in the Center, so it's not like he was completely unfamiliar with what her positions were. He knew the type of vitriol she had. He didn't
actually. Wait. I can't cap. I can't cap. There are Discord logs out there that exist somewhere. Anyway, I'll leave the rest of that sentence up to you. Okay. Anyway, where's the chat logs? Come on.
To this platform, and he knew that it would blow up, and he brought her anyway because he knew it would be good for his content.
Yeah, I talked to him earlier today, and I brought up a few of these things. And basically, with that, what you just said, like I asked him, like, how did you come across this girl? And he was like, I had no idea she was in the divestment community.
Where's the chat log of him
I
saying it? I
saw
want to read
she
it.
was hitting me up on Discord because she saw my conversation.
If
talking
anyone would
about,
be so
she saw my
kind.
Fresh and Fit, and that's how he came into contact with her. And I brought up the screenshot you were just talking about, Fanatiq, and his answer to that was, it came off very disingenuous. He said,
Okay,
yeah,
cheers,
no,
got
I
it.
left a Reddit post explaining, all this on my Reddit. And it's talking about this post specifically that you just read out. He was like, yeah, no, it was just.
Right, guys, what's this? No. This is absolutely. I disavow this in the strongest possible terms. No. Come on now. So he's not only typed it out in full hard R, but he's also put peppy laugh after. Does he think this is a joke? Does he think racism is a joke? It's not a joke. It's not a joke for those that are affected by the word. Look, he goes on to joke further. Stop. I didn't type the N-word. I copy-pasted it from an old conversation with Abba where I called him the N-word, but still. Well, I, for one, am disgusted. You shouldn't even joke about calling someone the N-word. He said it's a double bait and switch where he goes, I copy and pasted it from an old convo where I called Abba the N-word. It's too much, man. But look, listen, in all seriousness, let's get back to this. I don't know.
I guess his point was that, like, this was all, like you said, tongue in cheek, like, he was just memeing. Sometimes he memes, and all that. All that
the hard R, huh? He can't help himself. So I think,
of course not.
Here's the deal.
But we already knew that, though, because he's been said his position on the N-word privately.
Right. So then
it wasn't private, so it got leaked on his own subreddit.
Absolutely.
So well, my point is, like we. So this isn't surprising for me with Destiny. Like, I know what I'm getting with Destiny.
But it doesn't have to be surprising for us to point out how absolutely absurd it is and for us to be offended by it. Because I'm not saying that it's surprising. I'm not saying that I'm shocked. I'm saying that it's wrong, it's harmful, and that it needs to stop.
Yeah, you can't be getting used to something that's bad and expect it to be something that's going to stay that way.
Right.
You have to push back against it for it to change. And the fact that he thinks he's okay with it, or that it's all right to keep going, that's the issue we're trying to talk about. Because otherwise, he's just going to keep on doing it and think that it's okay to just exploit the situation and make it like a freaking show when it should be talked about seriously. The whole thing about his conversations online was to talk about ideas seriously if they impact a certain group or everybody for that matter. But he just made a show out of it. So that's a problem. Yeah, so did Abba too, by the way. That dude wasn't fucking helping at all. That guy was doing clown shit for a while, bro.
For sure. So there's a thing. I'm going to read a few of the comments that I got on the YouTube so you guys can understand what motivated me to have this, like to even start this panel. So one person said, Fanatiq, it's very frustrating being a Black Destiny viewer. I know he's trying, and I'm happy with the recent uptick in Black people in his sphere, but now we're getting the crazies and the weirdest ones, and he doesn't know how to argue back against them. And the weird narrative that other races never got help is the weirdest ahistorical thing I've ever heard, and you're the first and only person to accurately point that out. Good debate. Another person says, he did the best he could in the situation, but I feel like he should have cut the convo off way sooner because he's not equipped to debate a divester, and it's just pure chance luck that a few Black people were around that were willing to come on. That was the point that I was making earlier. He did not know that I was going to be there. It just so happened to be chance that I left my OBS open and someone reached out on the OBS. And so when I saw that, and I was talking to my fiance at the time, and I said, hey, I'm sorry, I got to check this out really quick. And I checked it out, and I was like, okay, we're going to watch the movie later. And then I went and I engaged in that conversation. It was just chance I hadn't already started that movie yet. And if I wasn't there in that conversation, nobody else adequately pushed back. So it was absolutely chance. Then someone else made the statement, in case it's not obvious, Destiny has huge anti-Black sentiment, forcing his community to push back against a bigot. He's choosing the platform as the grossest form of Blaxploitation I've seen in the streaming world, and there's no excuse for it. I don't know how anyone could argue against that. This is the same person that told Fanatiq you should be grateful when pushed back against him misrepresenting Black issues 2 months ago. Every time he played the I'm white card while trying to steelman her arguments, he was just reinforcing the harm he was doing.
Very true.
And here's the last one that I'll read, even though there are several more. Well done. That girl was so dang bitter. I don't know why Steven was so charitable to her. She deserved none of that. And all of those things, every last one of those things that I read.
Speaking truth to power now. Let's go.
My goal was to reach out to people to see if the other people felt the same and just get some other opinions. Something happens a lot of times when you go live where people kind of want to be extra charitable, and I don't know what the hell that is. But ultimately, my reason for having this panel.
It's not that.
Okay.
It's not that.
Oh,
it's not that. It's just that I don't expect more from Destiny. Like, I don't. It's just like
you literally said the words, I want to be charitable.
Well, yeah, well, I do want to be charitable because, like, I'm not in this man's head. I'm not here to psychoanalyze him. Like, I just know what to expect from him. Like, okay. I'm not like, we can hypothesize about, yes, he did this, like, just out of pure for content's sake. He did this because he didn't know what she was going to say. He didn't know what she was going to say. These are really his true feelings that he was just, using her as a proxy to spread his, his racism. I can't say that one way or the other. All I know is what I see, what I expect, what I've known Destiny to be and do. And this is just another episode of the Destiny show.
All right, that's a good defense.
I don't think he's racist, bro. I don't think he's racist.
I didn't say that he's racist. What I'm saying.
No, I said I don't.
I hear you.
I don't think he's racist.
I don't know.
I don't want people to think
that. I don't think anybody here posited that he was racist. I think what we were saying was what he was doing was harmful. What I'll say is The reason why I wanted to include other people in this conversation was because it does feel like it would be unfair of me to just have my own position on this thing and just say exactly what I think without trying also to include other voices. And for that reason, I think it's beneficial that STV Philly is able to voice his position in opposition, because in that way it helps at least for other people, other ideas to be present and so on and so forth. What I'll say is, I personally think Destiny has been rather harmful, and on countless occasions I've tried to have reasonable conversations with him, and I've endured nonsense with straw mans. I think his community tried to label me as a racist, and because he first labeled me as a racist, and it wasn't until he walked it back that many of them started like giving away with that. But that element is still there of plenty of people referring to me as racist because Destiny championed that, and he laughed about it when I had him in the studio, and he specifically said, yeah, I know I did that. So he knows what he's doing. He's completely aware of how ridiculous his community is, which is why he's so on edge all the time, because he knows if he's ever wrong about anything, then his community will go ham. But in any case, plenty of times I've tried to actually correct him about some of these issues and some of his misinformation, and he has been completely unwilling to actually entertain any sound argument on it. Whether I have facts, figures, data, science, evidence, none of that matters to him. He just starts to meme and try to disquiet me with all of his tools. I reached out to him and I told him I've been working on a whole piece specifically dedicated to those interactions, and I think parts of this conversation were frustrating for me. But what I will do is I will go ahead and re-listen to those conversations, and then I will come back with my own notes for an independent video. I'm pretty sure because it's a 4-person conversation and I'm sort of driving it, that I'm pretty sure STV Philly probably doesn't, and Zovia and Miles probably have more that they could say on this subject. If anybody wants to reach out to them,
okay, listen. Listen, Occam's razor. Okay, I do actually quite like you as a chatter. You give a lot of contributions, but like, this is really annoying. You're just spamming chat, so I'm gonna have to time you out for 10 minutes for now. I must warn you, if you come back, it'll be an hour and then 8 hours. It's too much, man. Look, Fun One's a fucking schizo. Even they've had enough. Come on.
They're probably available on Discord. You can talk to them there. Maybe I'll encourage Zoe to go ahead and make a Reddit post, because I think he wrote down a lot of his thoughts in preparation for this. So you can explore their ideas, and I'll definitely put out a video where I go into my own deep thoughts on this, and it doesn't have to be contended within that kind of an environment. Of course, if anybody feels like they disagree with me or agree with me and wants to talk to me, I'm always open.
I like Fanatiq now.
Whenever I'm streaming. Do you guys have any final?
Listen, I've changed my view on Fanatiq.
Thank you for not putting up my message that I sent to you, because mine was a little bit more colorful.
He's my favorite content creator.
What she was doing. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, this was a fantastic thing that you did. I understand that having more than a few people in here to have their thoughts.
Thanks for having me on, Fanatiq.
Trying to juggle it up with other people is kind of hard, so I'll have to set
Listen, Fanatiq, thanks for having me on, mate. I know last time we had some difficulty and I called your panel a dusty ass panel, but you've really changed my mind on this. I think Destiny is basically a big racist, and I know that him typing out the N word like that is probably one of the worst crimes to happen in racism for a long time. Yeah, I mean, hopefully I can come on again. I think you did a great job against that crazy woman, and I appreciate you coming on and elaborating your thoughts here. Good time, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.
I guess my final thoughts would be, it's kind of funny, Fanatiq, like when we first got in contact, I had some like harsh criticisms of Destiny, and you're like, oh well, you want to come on stream and voice your opinions to him. And so I've had a lot of criticisms of the man for a long time. I know what to expect from his content. I don't go in there with any illusions that he's going to be this bastion of black positivity. Anytime he's ever engaged with the black community, save for Abba and maybe like Tree or a few other people fucking are relevant. Anytime he's engaged with anybody in the black community that had any differing opinions from him, he pushed back on him. So the reason I think that he agrees with this woman is exactly what I said. He agrees with her, and he was using her. I can't say he was using her as a proxy, but I do think that the reason he was giving you so much pushback, Fanatiq, and letting some of the things that you guys discussed tonight, why he was letting a lot of that ride, is because he ultimately does agree with her. Yeah. And I'll just end it there, but yeah.
Sylvia?
All right, so normally I just put Destiny on.
Why is it?
I not terribly interested in him, but his platform is valuable. And having a valuable platform, I shouldn't, as a black man, feel like I just got a giant shit taken on me because you want to platform a bigot and it still made her and sit there and laugh. Still man, laugh. The more racist she got, the more happier he got. And for him or his audience to come back like, oh, he's white, what are you supposed to do? Do what you would do for the Jews, do what you would do for the LGBT community, do what you do for your own people when you get called out in that similar fashion and meltdown.
Listen, like I said before, Destiny will happily sell any minority down the river. In this, he got it with the Mr. Girl thing. He's fucking. If there's a chance of some content, yeah, it doesn't matter what your fucking identity is, right? You're getting in the boat and getting chucked down the river. Woo, down you fucking go. Content fucking flying everywhere. But no, I think I just think this is something that happens, is that he'll engage with someone and it will be something to do with the minority, and there'll be claims that he didn't sufficiently push back, and I just don't think this is unique to black people. But yeah. What do I know? I'm a cishet white guy.
When people say words towards you or about you that you don't like, what do we call it? It's called consistency. The modicum of consistency for Black issues will be greatly appreciated. We're not mad because, oh, you had it wrong and she said some things. You know, you did what you were supposed to do. No, you didn't do what you're supposed to do. You didn't act in a way that was respectful towards the group she was attacking, and that's why all of these people are coming out.
I'm going to sit my white ass down and listen.
Making posts on Reddit, making themselves known with this community. It's like, hey, his Reddit is blowing up with Black people that mostly.
Anyway, I wanted to hear the minstrel show comment. What was the minstrel show thing? Someone said that Destiny treats Black people like minstrels. I must have missed it. I'm so you know, desensitized to these kind of memes.
People wouldn't have had anything to say if he was doing what he's supposed to do. And I guess let's leave it at that.
All right. Appreciate you guys all for being here. Yeah, just look out for more. I don't, man, it's crazy.
Someone link it. I can watch it. I want to.
I'm 16 hours in already. I'm just collecting all of these things, like just the history of these interactions, because it has been incessantly toxic, which is crazy. Because anyone that's been aware of me, I've always had a certain layer of respect for him, despite the ways that he's been disrespectful on countless occasions. There's something that I've always respected about him, and I think I guess I can kind of be blinded by the idea that every now and then, like when I did my panel, he supported the panel, in my opinion, by being on it, because he's obviously a huge draw. I think those kind of things have always made me soft on him, while at the same time, when I'm trying to have direct conversations, because something that I think is particularly harmful, because I genuinely care about these Black issues, and when he starts being dismissive of that kind of thing, when I'm being as respectful as I can, it really does sour the type of respect I had for him. And I think that he's absolutely being toxic to the Black community, and enough of his viewers have reached out to me to say so, which is what guided my efforts to make me want to even do this panel. And I will try my best to better address you guys as an individual when I have more time. These people didn't have a lot of time to prepare as well, so that is what that is. Appreciate you guys all. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to work and start trying to compile this information. That's that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, bro. And if you need, help with anything, just let me know. I got you.
I appreciate it.
Actually, that's a really good point.
Yeah, it was a great exercise, and we learned a lot today.
For sure. Everybody, please check out the content, the YouTube and the music and all that other stuff. All right, peace.
So let's get the timeline straight. When did this panel happen? So, because Fanatiq went on the first day and got praised for how he dealt with it. Right? This is what I'm taking this from chat. So Curious how Fanatiq had no issue when the first day when he was being praised. When he went on the second day and was yelling and repeating himself, suddenly realised it was irresponsible platforming. Yeah, I thought Fanatiq went on and was praised for his first time. He was. But now it seems like he's had this kind of change of perspective. I don't know, maybe he just genuinely reflected on it, but like, was the second time not a good showing? Do you think so? I thought it was really good, but